Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about a travel healthcare paid package. It doesn't matter if you are a travel CT tech, ultrasound tech, travel nursing. I'm going to break down what a pay package looks like. And this is going to be a real pay package. This is the pay package I received back in 2021 when I was working out in California, okay? So in this video, we're going to talk about what's tax, what's non-tax, how you get from your $2,900 a week, which is the numbers that we're going to go off of, how you get from this number to your take-home pay per week and per month, as well as health insurance. So this pay package from Aya Healthcare does include healthcare, okay? So I was getting paid $2,900 per week gross, and that included me having healthcare within that number. On Aya Healthcare's website, they'll have a range. It might say $2,900 to $3,100. The $2,900 or the lower number is going to be your number with health insurance, whereas the higher number is going to be without health insurance, okay? So this includes health insurance. So first we have our tax amount. That is going to be, I did an hourly rate of $27.50 an hour. Granted, you can change this number. If you want the number to be higher, you can do that. That will decrease your take home. But if you want that number to be higher, maybe you're saving for a house or whatever you have going on, you can do that. Typically, you don't really go too much lower than this. I have went as low as, I want to say, $25 an hour, but $27.50 is how much I did on this contract, okay? So right here, I just did $27.50 times... My audio is not on, so, but we're gonna keep going. So my rate was $27.50. I did 40 hours a week. I did 4 tens, and $27.50. Let me make sure. I know my math should be right, but $27.50 times 40 hours gets you $1,100 a week. Was my $1,100 a week was my tax amount. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and do times 20% for taxes. Actually, no. I'm going to do times 80%. And 80% is going to be the amount of that I actually keep. Okay, so $880 per week is my tax take home, okay? All right, make sure it's focusing. Okay, so that's my take home pay for my hourly rate. But then over here you have your non-tax, okay? So in your non-tax you have your weekly meals and incidentals, which is always included, and that was $462 a week for me. My stipend, or my housing stipend, was $1,338, and that's going to be housing. A one-time reimbursement for relocation, and this money you usually get after your first check. I feel like either it's after your first check or on your first check. It's one of the two. Can't remember, but that is going to be your travel reimbursement. Okay, so now let's put these numbers together. So you have your $880, which is going to be your tax hourly rate. Then you have your $462, which is your meals and incidentals. Then you have your $1,338, which is your housing stipend per week. Let's add those numbers up. You get $2,680. Okay, that is going to be the take home pay for this $2,900 a week, okay? And that's a week. That's a week, okay? So 2,680 times 4. So I'm gonna change the color. 10,720. Okay, let's change the color. So $10,720 is how much you are taking home per month, and $2,680 is how much you're taking home per week in this pay package that was done in California. And the $700 one-time reimbursement of travel expenses was put, I believe, on my first or my second check, but this is that take-home pay. And just so you know, the math that I came up with is usually in any place that I was living in, I would pay a maximum of 25% of my income for housing. About 1 week was just for housing, but if you subtract 2,680 from the 10,720, you get $8,040. So that's about an average of all my travel contracts, I would say. So on average, I was able to keep $8,040 per month after paying for housing, and that's if my housing was up to $2,680. Short-term housing is more expensive than long-term housing. Also, I travel with my husband and I travel with a dog. So with that being said, I had to make sure that housing was dog friendly, had a yard, things like that. So I would say a lot of people in travel healthcare usually try to keep this number as low as possible. So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody was able to get that number to like $2,000. I was in California, so getting $2,000 a month short-term housing seems a bit far-fetched, but you know, so there's that. That is a breakdown of a actual travel healthcare contract on the West Coast with a tax rate of $27.50 an hour. All right, y'all. So go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know where you think about going on a travel contract. And if you have some different numbers that you want me to break down, put together, I will do it for you. Bye.